All right, so I get to do all the fun stuff this year, and we're going to start with all the many different projects. I've said over the years that Omaha has one of the best and most unique law days that of any bar association in the country, and I think part of it is due to the number of different events that we manage and participate and that we have participated in, a number of people that we reach in our community. So thank you to everybody at the start for participating in the different programs. And I'm going to first start with the mock trial that was held at the federal courthouse before Honorable Robert Rossiter. And we want to thank Judge Rossiter for you and your staff for hosting this and taking on that tradition of having a mock trial there annually. And this year they tried the trial of Rumpelstiltskin versus Queen Mallory. And it sounds like it got pretty spirited within the trial itself, and to the point where you had Don Klein, who was one of the lawyers, and Joe Bradley is another lawyer. And during the closing arguments, apparently, they, they were referring to Rumpelstiltskin as no more than a wannabe Rizzler and more sus than a chicken jockey, which showed my age a little bit because I had to look that one up, not knowing exactly what a chicken jockey was. And now that I know, I'm not sure I want to know more. But it's it was a trial, and Rumpelstiltskin, even though there were some questions, I guess won a $50,000 award. So congratulations to Ann Miller and to Honorable Judge Robert Rossiter, Don Klein, Joe Bradley, and the Rose Theater actors for putting on a wonderful mock trial. So give them a round of applause, please. The next up, I'd like to recognize all the lawyers who participated. And by participated, I mean if you've volunteered to become one of the lawyers, first of all, thank you for that. I've been doing this program, the Lawyers in the Classroom, for I think this is my 25th year if you take out the COVID years where we couldn't get into the schools. But it's always a fun program. But what we've noticed since COVID, we've had trouble getting back into the schools. And so this year we noticed when we sent out emails, they were getting probably captured from the email filters, but we've got a plan in place, and we're going to recruit more lawyers to help us to leverage your own relationships. For those of you that have either done it and you have relationships in the schools with teachers, or you have relationships with administrators, we're finding some of the reasons schools aren't responding. Some think it's political. I don't know why they would with lawyers coming into a school thinking it's political. Some just it's scheduling. Some I think they're not getting the information to them. So we're going to go in with some postcards and social media and some of the things next year to kind of get it back to the robust program we had. But nevertheless, we had about 147 lawyers who had volunteered. Out of that, we had about 45 schools that participated, and we're going to reach, I think, around 1,000 kids ultimately this year. So next year, since it's the 250th year of the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence, I think what our goal is to get at least 76 schools signed up, and then we'll have plenty of lawyers. We had a phenomenal response from the lawyers. I mean, within 2 days, I think we had 60, 70 lawyers sign up and say they wanted to go speak. So for all the lawyers that did that, I would like to thank you again, and then just give them a round of applause. Next up, we've got we got the Law Day poster contest. And as I'm driving back from Lincoln yesterday, when you get to about the Mahoney Bridge coming from Lincoln and the Platte River, I looked over and I saw this Berry Law Firm poster out there. And they were talking about Law Day, and I thought, well, that's convenient for Berry Law Firm, because their thing is, like, if you've gotten seriously injured in an accident, I'm doing 75 miles out on the interstates. Preferably, if I steer too long, I would definitely get in one. But we'd want to thank Berry Law Firm for doing that. And obviously, I'm going to bring now up Andrea Bell for the Nebraska Paralegal Association to talk about the poster contest.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you guys it's an honor to be here. The Nebraska Paralegal Association has been teaming up with the Omaha Bar Association for many years for the Law Day poster contest, and we were excited to do it again this year. We had quite a few entries, as you can see, coming in today that are posted up on the wall, and the judges had a very difficult decision determining our winners. I want to thank our judges from Smith Poly, Compass 365, and Burlington Capital for taking time out of their day to pick our top 3 posters. The posters were judged on how well they incorporated the law day theme, the Constitution's promise, out of many, one. And normally we have first, second, and third place winners, but this year the competition was, pretty tough again, so we included one honorable mention. The prizes this year are $125 and a one-year family membership to the Durham Museum for first place, including having their poster displayed on 13 digital billboards around Omaha for 10 days during the month of May, all courtesy of Barry Law. Our second place winner will receive $100. Third place gets $75, and our honorable mention will receive $25. And so when we announce our winners, we would like them to come up to the front to receive their prize and have their picture taken with Angela Lennon, who's the president of the Omaha Bar Association. And if possible, we'd also like to take a group photo at the end of the luncheon of all our poster contest winners up front here. So I'd like to start with our honorable mention. Mila Barrientos of St. Bernadette, her parents Nate and Kelly Barrientos, and her teacher, Mr. Anderson. Okay. Our third place winner is Carissa Mason of Grace Abbott Elementary. She's here with her mother, Alyssa Mason, and her teacher, Jocelyn Rowe. Our second place winner is Aubrey Lugad of Our Lady of Lourdes, her parents, Alvin and Julia Lugad, and her teacher, Miss Kowski. And finally, our first place winner is Iris Clements of Our Lady of Lourdes, parents David and Melissa Clements, and her teacher, also Miss Kowski. So a big congratulations to all our winners, and we look forward to next year. Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Honorable John Irwin, who's going to come to the podium here and talk about our 8th grade essay contest.
Judge Battalion just said I found something I actually do. Judge, so the theme of Law Day, as you probably discerned by now, and what was the theme for the writing competition for these 8th graders from grade schools all across Omaha. The theme was from one many or out of many one. Sounds familiar? If you think about our currency, for example, e pluribus unum. That said, so these essays were actually judged not by me or judges, but by the Nebraska Court Reporters Association. They go through them all. There were 80 submissions, and they went through those and chose the top 3. So thank you for their work. So with that, let me ask the winners, all 3 winners, to come up, please. You know who you are. Howdy. And so the 3rd place winner and the winner of $125 is Campbell Mass. Campbell. And she is from Rebecca Begley's class at Kiewit Middle School. And Campbell is here today with her parents, Suzanne and Steve Nass, in the back there at table K. And their teacher, Mrs. Begley, is here as well. So congratulations, Campbell. And second place in the essay contest goes to Jillian White of Michelle Sullivan's class at St. Vincent de Paul. Congratulations. And Jillian is here with her parents, Jennifer and Adam Weiss. I think, are you also at table? Okay. Oh, wrong. Next door. Last and certainly not least is the first place finisher in the OBA Law Day essay contest. And that award goes to Molly Barth, also of Michelle Sullivan's class at St. Vincent de Paul. And Molly is here with her parents, Carly and Kelly Barth. Molly will receive $175, and her winning essay will be published in the Law Day edition of the Daily Record, the OBA newsletter, and on the Omaha Bar Association website. So, yeah. And I'll just take a few seconds. I just wanted to add concerning Molly's work. So, first of all, it's a true honor to present to her that first place award. And her piece was chosen for a reason. And first I should say, when you read it or when you hear it, it's part prose, part poetry. But I think it was selected because she writes with true clarity, thoughtfulness, and conviction. And her essay really embodies what Law Day is about for all of us. And that is, at these times, we need to think about unity, equal justice, and rule of law. And those things matter still. And her piece just eloquently embodies those virtues. And as an appellate judge, and I'll be quiet and go away, but as an appellate judge for 25 years, I wrote a lot. Some people would say too much. I read a lot. I would say too much. But I have an appreciation for language. And reading all three of these essays, I did read all three, and particularly Molly's. Language can have impact. And she writes with such thoughtfulness and care in her use of language that it really has impact. So congratulations, if you'll help me in applauding Molly and all our participants.
Our country is like a sheet of ice. Together, it protects one vast area of water. But when you take a closer look, you can see little fractures covering what looks like a perfect surface. These fractures represent divides in our land. Whether that is race, religion, or our choices, our country is falling apart from it. This nation was built on the backs of farmers, immigrants, and people wanting a fresh start. But over the centuries, our beautiful union has turned into the very place some flee from. That is why we must focus on the fundamentals that our democracy started with: freedom, prosperity, and hope. The internet has changed how the world works. Everyone can get information in the blink of an eye, but that information might not always be true. False information is so prominent that you will never know what truly happened. That is why we, the people, must stand together, not against one another. We need to speak the truth and listen to each other and remember why we are here in the first place. Most of our ancestors came to start a new life free from persecution and religious banishment, but our country is turning into the very thing our ancestors were fleeing from. The Constitution says that the government's power comes from the people. We, the people, must stand together, united to stop this injustice, because if we don't, we'll lose everything we fought to gain.
Good afternoon and happy Law Day to everyone. I have the honor today of presenting the OBA's Public Service Award
for non-attorney individuals or organizations to the Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging. Accepting the award on behalf of this incredible organization today are Trish Bergman and Kaylee Edelman. The scope of this organization's impact is too great for me to regale you with here, but I would like to take a moment to recognize the importance of what ANOA does for this community. Caring for our elder generation is not merely a good idea or a nice policy, it's a moral summons. Our dignity does not stop when we reach a certain age. It is a call to justice, to fellowship, and a duty that echoes in all of our hearts. And we are very fortunate to have an organization that follows through on that calling when so many overlook our neighbors who are so rich in wisdom and experience. Our more seasoned neighbors, colleagues, loved ones, and friends have toiled for our prosperity, and we stand upon their shoulders, and we owe them a great debt. I think we should all look at this great organization as a testament of our society that is premised on the idea that doing what is right is what grants us our might. So please join me now in celebrating the Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging. For what they do is not easy and is often overlooked, but it is right and just. So Trish and Kaylee, thank you so much. Oh, sorry.
Good afternoon, members of the Omaha Bar Association and distinguished guests. I am Trish Bergman, the Executive Director of the Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging, also known as ANOA, or maybe ANOA, or whatever anybody wants to call us. It is both an honor and a privilege for me to accept this public service award on behalf of ANOA. To be recognized by an organization as respected as the Omaha Bar Association is truly humbling, and we are deeply grateful for this recognition. First and foremost, I want to thank the association for this incredible honor. This award is a testament to the dedicated, compassionate team at ANOA. Without their hard work, passion, vision, and commitment to improving the lives of older adults in our community, none of this would have been possible. Serving the older adults in our community has always been a personal passion. As I've learned over the course of my career, there is nothing more rewarding or meaningful working than advocating for those who have given so much to us over the years. Older adults have shaped our communities, our families, and our lives in countless ways, and it is our responsibility to ensure that they continue to live with dignity, respect, and have the services that they need to remain independent in their own home for as long as possible. The Eastern Nebraska Office on Aging was established over 50 years ago, providing vital services that help seniors maintain their quality of life. Whether it's through our Meals on Wheels or senior center programs, case management, in-home services, volunteer programs, or even legal assistance, our mission remains the same: to ensure that every senior has the support they deserve. But this work is not done in isolation. It is a collective effort, one that involves the tireless dedication of volunteers, community partners, and of course the legal professionals who work tirelessly to protect the rights of our older adults. We are all part of a larger network, and every step forward is a step that we take together. In accepting this award, I want to acknowledge the tremendous challenges that lie ahead. As our population ages, the need for services and advocacy for seniors will only grow. We must continue to innovate, collaborate, and fight for policies that support the well-being of older adults in our community. Once again, thank you to the Bar Association.
And my thanks to that for all the work that you do. I mean, it's like, once again, yesterday I was sitting in a meeting and apparently I was showing my age because we were going to meet with some regulators and we were worried about some of the questions they might ask. I said, well, if it gets too far astray, I'll just drop the old Perry Mason quote of those questions are incompetent, irrelevant, and immaterial. And a couple other people at the table said, who's Perry Mason? So I thought, okay, apparently they don't want to know either. But anyway, for the next award, we've got the Robert M. Spire Service Award, and I'd like to bring Brian Fahey up to introduce that and present that award.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Brian Fahey. I'm an attorney at the Gutman Law Group and was recently elected on the Douglas County Board of Commissioners for District 5. I was honored to be asked to introduce this year's Robert M. Spire Award recipient, the Education Rights Council. I've been lucky enough to know one of its founders, Lauren Vargas, since we were both first-year summer law clerks working under the venerable Tom Riley in the summer of 2013. And even then, I knew and was not surprised to see some of the wonderful work that Lauren has gone on to do, including founding the Education Rights Council with Elizabeth Einen-Kokerda back in 2017. I've had the unique privilege of having a front row seat to their exponential growth over that time to now include 15 full-time staff, which includes 5 attorneys. The ERC is a first of its kind organization in the country that advocates for the education rights of Nebraska children. Now, they do this through providing direct representation of Nebraska children, both in juvenile court and school administrative proceedings and appeals, as well as through giving educational and professional development opportunities to Nebraska teachers, school administrators, and attorneys. Their education centers around the latest data and legal standards, particularly as those standards apply to students with developmental disabilities and at-risk youth. Many of the students who the ERC helps have disabilities, either diagnosed or undiagnosed, and are in a situation where schools are struggling to educate them effectively without significant classroom disruption. Using their specialized understanding of the legal protections for students under state and federal law, combined with data on best practices and individualized education programs, ERC works with educators, administrators, and families to keep kids in the classroom and learning as much as possible. Also starting in 2023, ERC added a high-risk youth program to provide educational counsel for youth who have been identified as victims of or at high risk for being sex trafficked. Their trainings have empowered thousands of educators and lawyers regarding what they can do to find solutions for students in need. Now, for attorneys here today, if you have questions or concerns related to an education rights counsel, if you have a youth as a client who's dealing with school or administrative issues, please feel free to reach out to ERC. That's what they're there for. If it's not something you practice in regularly, I can tell you it's water in the desert, so please don't hesitate. It's my pleasure to introduce the Education Rights Council, the 2015 recipient of the Robert M. Spire Award.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know Brian was going to do that. So that was a blast from the past in so many ways. Thank you so much to the Omaha Bar Association, to many of my colleagues and many of the judges and the judiciary who I've worked with over the course of my legal career. I am so appreciative of this honor. Our goal at Education Rights Council is to ensure that every child has an access to an education. And we make sure that that happens by holding everyone accountable to the law. So with your support and the state's support, we've been able to represent over 500 students, to train over thousands of attorneys and stakeholders across the state. And we hope, because we are, I know this is so exciting, right? The first of our kind in the nation. We hope to expand not only across Nebraska, but nationally to ensure that every child has an access to an education and can thrive in the classroom. So thank you so much for your support and acknowledging our work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kate McNamara. I'm an attorney at McGrath North Law Firm. I'm also the immediate past treasurer of the OBA and a former member of the Lawyer Referral Service. So it is my pleasure to announce the 2025 recipient of the Alfred G. Ellick Lawyer Referral Service Award. So this award is presented to those attorneys who have been a member of the OBA LRS for 10 years or more. The award was first presented at the 2015 Law Day lunch to 113 attorneys, and that large number of attorneys is a testament to the strong support the OBA LRS receives from its members. So the award itself is named after Alfred G. Ellick, who in 1962, during the year of his presidency of the OBA, established the OBA LRS, and 63 years later, the LRS continues to be a cornerstone of the OBA's commitment to public service by its attorneys. Each year, the LRS gets more than 7,000 inquiries that are asking questions such as, do I have a legal case? What do I do? How can you help me? The attorneys of the OBA LRS work to answer those questions in initial consultations set up through the service. So the attorneys receiving this award today have shown their dedication and commitment to the lawyer referral service for 10 years, a significant amount of time. The OBA is very grateful for their longstanding association to the LRS and their legal work that they've done for the community. So at this time, we'd like to recognize the 2025 recipients of the Alfred G. Ellick Lawyer Referral Service Award, and those recipients are Bonnie Baritza and Molly and Jake Steinkemper. Thank you.
Molly and Jake today? Yeah.
Good afternoon. It's great to see everybody here today. I'm Kathleen Pallison, and I'm the president-elect of the Omaha Bar Association. It's my pleasure and honor today to introduce the Honorable Vernon Daniels, our 2025 Laurie Smith Camp Integrity and Service Award recipient. In 2021, the Omaha Bar Association created this award to be presented annually at our Law Day lunch. And through this award, we recognize those who have left their mark on the legal profession in a positive and meaningful way. Specifically, the awards criteria are advancing diversity and inclusion, improving access to justice, providing pro bono services, mentoring others, advancing innovation in the legal profession, and serving and representing the legal community. It is fitting to recognize Judge Vernon Daniels, a juvenile court judge for 23 years, and my personal friend for even longer than that. His career stands as a testament to all of those ideals that I mentioned. Judge Daniels grew up in Omaha. He attended Central High School, and he graduated college from Doane College in Crete, Nebraska. Judge Daniels was a member of the prestigious Delta Kappa Pi fraternity at Doane College, and he follows his fraternity brothers to this day. Following college, Judge Daniels received his law degree from the University of Nebraska College of Law. When thinking of Judge Daniels in the context of the award criteria that I mentioned, the one that stands out for me personally is mentoring others. This is very close to my heart, as he named his first member in his OBA talk to be Chuck Pallison, my father-in-law. And life sure comes full circle, even in the legal community. I would name Judge Daniels as one of my first mentors in the legal community. It seems like yesterday he was my supervisor in the Douglas County Attorney's Office in the mid-1990s. That was a long time ago for these students. I still look to Judge Daniels for advice on current cases, the law, professionalism, and just life in general. Most recently, I guided several UNL law students through juvenile court and was asking permission from Judge Daniels to bring them into his courtroom to watch him during his hearings. And without hesitation, all he said was, "Always, Miss Pallison, always." Mentoring is very time-consuming, but Judge Daniels always takes the time. So for any of the students here, if you want to follow a judge or watch some courtroom hearings, talk to Lori in Judge Daniels' courtroom. Judge Daniels' mentoring also comes with some consistent Danielisms that I call. There are way too many to mention here over the last decades, but one has remained consistent, and I don't know if he even remembers some of these things I'm going to mention now. He says, if you're going to be a lawyer, be the best lawyer that you can be. And if you're going to be a ditch digger, be the best ditch digger that you're going to be. If Judge Daniels is your mentor, he will also be your friend, and he will always have your back. And I have one story that I think I can say appropriately in this group. When I was a county attorney, my office was directly across the hall from the conference room. And if anybody remembers the county attorney's office on the 6th floor of the Hall of Justice, you recall it was very close quarters. There wasn't a lot of privacy. Judge Daniels comes to my door and he holds the doorknob and he says, "Miss Pallison, I have 7 witnesses across the hall from you." I thought, that's fine. Thanks for the warning. He said, "But one is a priest." And I thought, okay. He said, "I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to close your door. I'm going to ask you to lower your voice. And I'm going to ask you to refrain from using any curse words." He ended by saying, "He's here to testify. He's not here to listen to your confession." So I can assure you, if Judge Daniels is your mentor and friend, he will back you professionally and spiritually. If you get the chance, I highly recommend listening to the OBA's Bar Talk podcast to learn more about Judge Daniels' story and philosophy on the legal profession. I'm honored and proud to welcome Judge Daniels to the podium for presentation of this well-deserved honor.
I could be on the video.
They didn't tell me that you get to say anything. I'm a Baptist, a microphone, and a full room. You may not get home for dinner. Actually, Miss Pallison, I think what I said to you is you can only use words that are found in the Bible. And don't feel bad about names that people don't know. I used in class the other day an example of Ma and Paul Kettle. I see it. I see. We still have a generation gap. I apologize also to any future award winners because I'm concerned that after my selection, the committee may be disbanded. In all seriousness, I do appreciate this award. It means a great deal. I don't take it for granted, and it's not an ego thing for me. Mentoring is very important to me. The law is very important to me. The rule of law is very important to me. And following the law, as I mentioned the other day in a hearing, when you start making exceptions, you don't have a law anymore. And the law is supposed to provide us with some sort of predictability. And so that's very important to me. Mentoring is very important to me. What Miss Pallison didn't mention was, outside of my parents, my first mentor was Chuck Pallison Sr. I met Chuck Pallison my freshman year at Doane. He was also a Doane graduate years before and an alum of the fraternity. Our fraternity sponsor felt that Chuck, Brother Pallison, and I would click. And we did click, and we clicked until we had to take leave of him. I still think of him, and I still miss him. Mike, I still miss your dad. I thank you for this award. If there's anything that I really, really would like to stress here, it's my belief that as attorneys, if you stop and you think about it, our livelihoods quite often is made off of the backs or the misfortunes of others. And because of that, the misfortunes may come to our door at times that we have other things planned and don't have time for. Take that time. If there's anything I believe very strongly is I want to leave behind a strong work ethic so that hopefully I'll be appreciated. And I can't leave without also recognizing my work family here, my administrative assistant, Trinette Houston, who's been with me probably for about 70, how many years? She's probably close to 30 years. Bailiff Lori Roundtree, about as long. Court reporter Nora Tran, and my son and daughter-in-law, who I love tremendously. Thank you for coming here.
Congratulations again, Judge. Next up, we have Mallory Hughes will introduce our Lifetime Achievement Award.
Good afternoon. It is an honor and privilege to introduce a man who really doesn't need an introduction. Many of you in attendance here know Stu Dornan, our 2025 OBA Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And I'm sure many of you have specific, memorable stories to tell about Stu. And I think that a lot of them probably include the three underlying principles that I want to talk about. Number one, Stu is a man of the utmost integrity, honor, and ethics. He has a moral code that is above reproach. And I think the whole legal community has experienced that. Number two, Stu is one of the most empathetic people that I've ever met. He's selfless, he's thoughtless, he cares about others, he puts others first, and he makes you feel heard. His ability to put himself in somebody else's shoes and help when somebody's in need is remarkable. And finally, Stu follows through with his commitments, integrity. Again, he says what he's going to do, he means what he says. Oh, well, I butchered that, Stu. He says what he means and he means what he says. That's what I get for writing quotes in here. Stu values mentoring greatly. Stu is one of the leading mentors in our legal community. He was the president in 2013 and 14 for the Omaha Bar Association, and mentoring was one of the things that he focused on most during his presidency. The exchange of wisdom, direction, and ideas with younger attorneys is just another example of Stu giving back to the community. I was fortunate enough to start the first 10 years of my legal career with Stu. I showed up in Omaha from Colorado, not knowing anyone. I didn't go to law school here. And Stu took a chance on me and taught me pretty much everything I know about practicing law. His dedication, the time that he commits to helping others is something that is just beyond words. What I think makes Stu's mentoring really special is the responsibility and the trust that he puts in people out of the gate. He doesn't micromanage. He doesn't give you little menial tasks. He throws you into the wolves. Figure it out. And he's there to help you when you need help. But that type of mentorship is really what helps people learn and become great. Stu is one of those special people in life that makes you want to be a better person. You want to be a better attorney. In talking with Dave earlier this week, Dave said, whenever I'm facing a tough situation or decision, I always try and think, what would Stu Dornan do? That's what North Stars do, they said. They guide you at tough times even more than the easy ones. Stu's law firm motto is love in action. It's appropriate because Stu shows his love through his work, through his service, and in the community. But Stu's first and foremost love is his family, who are all here today. His wife, Derry, many of his kids. Are all the kids here? All the kids, all 9 kids here. And a shout out to all of you, because without Derry and you kids, I don't think Stu would have the support and the ability to help others the way he does. So Stu, your family means a lot to us too. Sometimes I wonder if Stu has more hours in the day than the rest of us. I mean that. Like, I think Stu gets 36 hours for our 24 because Stu sits for hours with his clients. Stu is on the pickleball court, the tennis court. Stu is out in the community. He's at church. He's with his family. His ability to do everything top notch is the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Stu, this community is so lucky to have you, and thank you for everything you've done. Please join me in welcoming Stu. Please.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for your kind remarks. I don't know that you misspoke because I think that you meant to say that I was thoughtful and you said I was thoughtless. And
Selfless and thoughtful.
And the only other thing I can say is that I think I fooled a lot of people with respect to achieving this award, and I'm very, very thankful. I'm very, very grateful. Many of the people in this room have helped me with their love and support throughout many years. I have our staff here, all the members of the law firm who are magnificent. They're first rate. They do love in action for people. And I don't think that there's anything more important than those three words. And I also, of course, have to thank my family who are here. And I don't think we've been together maybe for the last 4 years or 5 years or whatever. So they've flown in from all corners of the country, and they have been always behind me in whatever I do, many crazy things over the years, but they've been steadfast. And in particular, my wife, Dari, who is the most remarkable person that I know. Okay, it's never inappropriate to start out with a joke, a lawyer joke, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine yourself in a courtroom and you have a prisoner who is shackled and in his orange jumpsuit, and he has the courage to ask the court, "May I approach the bench?" And the court says, "Sure." So he goes up to the judge and he says, "I don't know what to do anymore." And the judge says, "What do you mean?" And the man says, "Well, I swore under oath to tell the truth. And every time I try to do that, some lawyer jumps up and objects." So Dave Summers, very wise man, cautioned me about sticking with the OBA topic, which I'm going to be primarily sticking with. But I can't leave out the rule of law, which is also an ABA focus this year. And as many of our presenters have touched upon, how important that is. To paraphrase Dostoevsky, if there is no rule of law, everything is permissible. Think about that for a moment. And the ancient Hebrew people had so much love for the law that they coined a phrase, Torah ora. Let the law be our guidance and our light. Because the law is our guardrails. The law helps us to maintain a greater good. And I want to give you a little bit of an example, and these 5th grade and 8th grade students who are here today, imagine yourself back on the playground and picture yourself as part of an experiment. And the experiment is that the teacher allows the kindergarten kids to go out to the playground, and it's the first day of class, and the playground has no boundaries, and they don't know what to do, and it's kind of cold and rainy, so they end up using the herd instinct to kind of huddle on the playground. And the teacher sees this and comes out and tells them to come back in. That very night, the experiment continues, and the playground is framed by a fence. And the kids come out the second day, and they look around and they see the fence, and they start running up to the fence. And they're playing a game, and they're laughing, and they're hollering, and they're having a great time. Again and again and again. Because what that fence represented to them was it was the benefit of a boundary. It provided protection, and it gave them a sense of security, just like the law does for us. So with respect to the rule of law, I want to cut the scraps from the bone, because there are many people in this country who over the last few months have been letting their voices be heard, and even today, letting their voices be heard, hundreds of thousands, with respect to the rule of law. And what their concern is that democracy is trembling. And they feel that democracy is at the risk of tumbling down. And those folks, in their minds, are making a very good and positive statement. And they're not being tame. They're not being tame. And I think, with respect to the OBA message today and a call to action, that all of us need to step up to the plate with respect to what we can do in our community. I don't know that anybody has ever said it better than John Donne, the famous classical poet. And John Donne said, "No man is an island or heir to himself. Everybody is a piece of the continent, a part of the main." And the message today is, out of many come one. And this is not a time to stand on our tiptoes, waiting for somebody else to lead the charge with respect to maintaining the rule of law. It is something that we have to move forward in a muscular way, and do so in a way that involves love in action, because talk doesn't cook rice. And there are so many ways that we can move forward with this. And the first way is to vote, because we need to vote, and we need to elect people who are trustworthy, who strive for wisdom, who strive to do justice, and who strive to do mercy. All of us can be a part of that, and it is extremely important. So we've got to lift up our hearts, we've got to use our hands, and we've got to use our feet in order to move through the community, particularly to help the poor, the friendless, and the needy, because they are at risk with respect to extreme budget cuts. And they are the ones who need our help for a hands up, for them to be able to continue and have a life that is peaceful and calm. So I suggest to you, and I'm really just talking to myself with respect to some of the things that in Omaha are great opportunities for you. And I want to take a quote from a refrain from Blowing in the Wind, Bob Dylan. And even the younger people may have recognized Bob Dylan because of the movie that just went out for him. And so every day, or almost every day, I pass a homeless person. And Dylan's refrain is, don't look away and pretend that you do not see. Stop. Be present. Talk to them. Learn about them. There are many, many opportunities in this community to serve the poor. Sienna Francis House, Open Door Mission, all of those places are great opportunities. And to help the less fortunate, and I can't tell you how much that will lead you to a very rich and rewarding experience. Our veterans are losing their jobs. They are in danger of their well-being. Go to a veterans organization. The people who serve this country are some of the most gallant and courageous and valiant people, and they have not always been viewed that way. And we need to make sure that we view them that way. With respect to Habitat for Humanity, Habitat for Humanity, of course, built houses. And I have to tell you a little story, and everybody who knows me well knows that I am completely non-mechanical, okay? If you get me near something, it's a real danger to whatever that something is. And so I one day went down to a Habitat for Humanity. We're building a house for a Sudanese family. And I picked up a paintbrush and I started to paint the wall. And I stepped back. As I did that, I looked and I said, well, that's pretty good. Well, the next time I came back, one of the leaders of the crew came to me and said, Stu, we really like to consider a different job. Can you just come back and just help prepare meals? Because as I looked at the wall, somebody who did have talent had painted it over in a completely different color. I have to talk about our refugees, because our refugees come from a place where their lives are at stake, because they face injustice, they face cruelty, they face disease, and they face death. And they're coming here for an opportunity to just live and survive. Lutheran Family Services does a magnificent job, as does the Refugee Empowerment Center, of aiding our refugees, because this is the place that is their hope. And as a woman from a soup kitchen once told me, hope is the anchor of the soul. Help them with that hope. A number of our presenters have talked about the old, the infirm, the people with mental health issues, behavioral health issues. There are so many opportunities to help them. And oftentimes, those folks have not won the natural and social lottery of life. And they're in tremendous need of just being noticed and loved. We need to take better care of the earth. Posterity is not talked about much anymore. But posterity is what we are going to hopefully focus on with respect to the care of the earth for our children and our grandchildren. Because we need to leave them with a place that they can live and thrive. The last thing that I want to leave with you is a question. And it's a question from one of America's greatest poets. Her name is Mary Oliver. And Mary Oliver wrote a poem called The Summer's Day. And in the last stanza of that poem, she asked this question and I ask each and every one of you to really consider it. Tell me what it is that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. Thank you, everybody.
Steve, don't sit down. Because you're doing double duty today, getting an award and giving the speech, we got a little thank you gift for you. And then after that, then we'll bring up our president, Angela Lennon, to adjourn us for the day.
Sir Nelson.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Congratulations again, Stu. Your inspiring call to action certainly shows us why you were such a well-deserved recipient of this award. And I think if we can all be inspired by Stu's words and his service over the years in how we leave today when we think about the rule of law, the role of lawyers in our legal community and Law Day, if we can leave with Stu's call to action, with leading with love, I think we would leave our community in a lot better place. So congratulations again, Stu.